Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel, Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Today we're diving into a delicate and widely discussed story surrounding three names you know well: Gupse Özay, Barış Arduç, and Elçin Sangu. I'll walk you through everything that's being said, what's confirmed, what isn't, and why this conversation has become bigger than a headline. If you enjoy thorough, respectful coverage, please like this video, subscribe, and click the join button to support the channel. Thank you, and let's begin. The past few weeks have felt like a countdown clock ticking over the entire entertainment world. With Gupse Özay's baby due any moment, audiences have been eagerly waiting for that joyful, definitive announcement. Her posts have balanced excitement with quiet reflection, small glimpses of nesting, long pauses between updates, and a tone that suggests she's trying to keep what matters most safe from the noise. Then came a shift. An unverified wave of claims that Barış Arduç had chosen distance at precisely the most sensitive time. No official statement, no sit-down interview. Just a rising current of people say and sources suggest, amplified by timelines that never sleep. The implication, right at the doorstep of parenthood, hit hard, whether you believe the whispers or not. For some, it felt like the air leaving a room. For others, it was simply another example of how a rumor can hijack a private moment. Why did this particular rumor burn hotter than most? First, the timing. Late pregnancy magnifies everything: joy, fear, fatigue, hope. Second, the names involved. Gupse Özay is far more than a comedian. She's a writer and filmmaker who has built a reputation for honesty and control over her narrative. Barış Arduç is one of the most carefully watched male leads of the last decade, with a global fanbase that reads him not only through roles but through restraint. And then there's the echo that never entirely fades: Elçin Sangu, whose creative history with Barış rewired expectations for what on-screen chemistry can look like. To be clear, dragging Elçin into a story that isn't hers says more about nostalgia than about facts. She has not inserted herself into this situation. Her name returns because audiences carry old stories like charms in a pocket. When we're uncertain, we reach for what we know. That magnetic memory should not become a verdict. Still, the pattern is familiar: a small uncertainty opens, and the public instinct is to pull past threads into the present, even if they do not belong there. Let's separate what we know from what we don't. We know that Gupse is approaching birth and that her circle has been discreet, even protective. We know that, according to people around her, support has been structured in practical, unglamorous ways: rides to appointments, help with errands, a phone always on in the night. We know that social platforms have turned volatile, split between those demanding visible, public reassurance and those insisting that real care is not a performance. We do not know what conversations have happened behind closed doors. We do not know the exact reasons for silence. We do not know, finally, whether the speculation is even aimed at the right target. Those watching closely have noticed that Gupse's friends and family appear to have built a real plan: postpartum rest prioritized, boundaries articulated, professional logistics adjusted, emotional check-ins scheduled rather than improvised. That kind of scaffolding doesn't trend, because it's not photogenic, but it's what sustains a mother in the first foggy weeks, when sleep is rationed, vulnerability is high, and tiny wins matter more than applause. And Barış? The absence of a statement is its own kind of statement, at least to the internet. Some argue that silence feels like indifference, others insist it may be the only way to protect everyone involved when any word becomes a spark. There's also a professional dimension here few discuss openly. Episodes like this ripple through schedules, brand conversations, and production timelines. A sentence can cost a campaign. A caption can redirect a narrative. Choosing not to speak can be strategy, caution, or simple humanity. Without confirmation, assigning motive is guesswork, persuasive, emotional guesswork, but guesswork nonetheless. What about the public's role? The last few days have been a raw reminder that audiences are not passive. They can be generous and ferocious, patient and relentless, often in the same feed. Many have used this moment to center what matters most: the well-being of a woman at full term and the quiet, essential needs of early motherhood. Campaigns of support sprang up, messages of encouragement, stories from parents who remember the choking mix of fear and tenderness in those last days, offers of practical help for anyone listening. That chorus, even if it never reaches its subjects directly, changes the temperature of the conversation. It lifts the story from gossip to care. There's also the question of myth versus reality. It is tempting to force a narrative, heroes and villains, loyalty and betrayal, because stories with sharp corners are easier to carry. But real life isn't a cliffhanger ending cut for prime time. Private lives take place in the slow, unremarkable hours. They involve mistakes, course corrections, new negotiations, and, yes, periods of silence. The most compassionate thing we can do from the outside is resist the urge to assign a role to every person in a story that is not ours to cast. So where does this go? A few possibilities stand out. One is a quiet reconciliation that never becomes content, no statements, only behavior. Another is a respectful redrawing of lines, where responsibilities are acknowledged and adjusted without spectacle. A third is what some already fear, parallel paths, where the parenting plan becomes the only joint project. In all three, the constant should be straightforward. The mother's health, the baby's stability, and the preservation of dignity for every name being passed around like a headline. As for Elçin Sangu's name appearing in the margins, it's understandable, but unhelpful. She represents a shared television era that many people cherish, that memory does not belong in the delivery room of someone else's life. Let nostalgia remain what it is, a light we hold at a distance, rather than a magnifying glass we point at the present. Let me end with a different kind of invitation. Instead of demanding disclosure, let's ask better questions. How do we normalize practical support for mothers in the public eye without requiring them to stage their pain or joy? How do we discuss accountability without feeding a spectacle? How do we defend privacy without silencing necessary conversations about emotional labor and shared responsibility? Those questions do not trend as easily as rumors do, but they matter more and they last longer. If you want us to host a panel with experts in perinatal mental health, privacy rights, and media ethics, without sensationalism, tell us in the comments. Would you watch an episode that leaves names at the door and focuses on what any family, famous or not, can do to prepare for birth and the first 12 weeks? Your feedback shapes our editorial calendar and helps us keep the conversation humane. Thank you for staying with me through a sensitive subject. If this approach resonates with you, context over conjecture, please like this video, subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, and consider joining the channel to support long-form reporting and thoughtful analysis. We'll continue to cover what should be told and step back where silence is the more decent choice. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye.